Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Brandon Bird. Just checking with you guys, man. Definitely want to give a greeting. It's been a minute since I really did any videos or shares or whatever, but definitely just want to drop some jewels going on right now. Y'all know you had the Mississippi runoff with Haden Smith. Um, Now she's the white woman um, that basically running for Senate. I think for the U.S. Congress Senate, she made the lynching comment about her being president and, in a way celebrating a hang. So, very racial context right there. Very, very white supremacist and up and down the conversation. As well, you had the Mia Love. She was like a black Republican, but she was a descendant of Haitian immigrants. Basically, she was like a chocolate covered white person. She identified everything in white. Now, actually, shout out to Thought Crimes, man. They did, man, Prince and Sense, they did a very lovely job breaking it down on the politics, the racial construct of it, and also her allegiance and in a way of a tribal sense. That's not really to her people at all, but to the complete abstract opposite. So it's definitely a lot. You had a black, got the black Congress, Tone Talk, shout out to him, and it's a lot of things that's not being talked about, but it's a contract of a difference that's being talked about. You have a lot of chocolate covered people. Man, Wilder went off on a black reporter. Um, Black reporter kind of like almost was asking a question, but he did it in an abstract way of distancing himself from what being black. You know what I'm saying? So Wilder kind of went in on it, but I really wanted to just talk about the construct of how society, especially in this country, is moving to a very tribal society, more of a tribal phase that a lot of Black American DOS definitely need to get on board with, because you get a lot of groups that's now moving away from the construct of race and moving into like almost like a nationalism, a tribalism, almost like a clanship, in a way, um, with each other, with other, basically aligning themselves with the similar culture, the similar background, their similar lineage and legacy, heritage. Um, it's a lot of construct that's going in, and race is starting to morph itself. It used to just be a two color normalcy, black and white, is no longer that way no more. You have a lot of black immigrant, African, or the Caribbean, or even South American that's coming over here, and they're masking themselves in black DOS, but their lineage and their heritage and their culture is totally different than ours. Not that making them almost basically not an ally, but can make them an adversary or an enemy, and that's kind of like a bad way to go. And, everybody got that saying, no, all skinfolk is not kinfolk, and that's very whole true. And that's when you got a lot of basically chocolate covered white people around. You know what I'm saying? Whiteness and race is kind of like becoming almost of a not a concept but a reality of a caste. You know what I'm saying? Now race always been deemed as a caste system as well as your class or as well as your birthright. You know what I'm saying? And the construct of race was also a form of a caste system as well. The creation of race normally be like in European standards would be um, a modification of basically to oppress or be the one to dominate. You know what I'm saying? But you have a lot of black people that's really that's that are genetically black, but their mindset and their loyalty and their nationalism, their tribal and their cultural tie is far from between. You know what I'm saying? So that's a very something that we definitely need to really be aware of. Like I said, um, most of the traders will be within your own ranks. That can be detrimental. Like most time, I tell a lot of people, the most dangerous thing to a human is a virus that can go within the body and destroy you from within. Same thing of any organism. Um, Even if you're looking at a political or a society construct, it's still an organism. If you want to generalize into that category, that meaning. But yeah, definitely a lot of things that's taking place. That Black DOS or Black, I say Black American, Black DOS, we're facing almost like an elimination or replacement. And like Black Caucus and to me is irrelevant because they're not really talking about something that really kind of pertain to American DOS. In that sense, they're really talking about other groups, but not the group that you are a member to. If you really want to be on a sense of tribal or a construct of a group, and they don't have no allegiance to it. They're not really talking about it. Now, I'm not saying um, I'm gonna call them a traitor, but you're going to need to speak up for that our Pacific group, and that's just really what it is to me. If you're not, I don't know what you're in politics for. I don't know. Um, if you're in politics, you're not supposed to be in submissive. You're not supposed to be submissive to something greater than you. That's almost like monarchy or dictatorship. If you're truly in a democracy, you have the right to do that. But instead, like I said, democracy is a form of capitalism that basically whoever got the most wealth hold the most power. And who hold the most power control their own laws. If they don't control their own laws, they can basically construct a whole alter reality that can benefit a specific group and be at a disadvantage to another group. You know what I'm saying? I told people capitalism comes from a slave and feudalism society. Feudal and slave society. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, I know a lot of people speak ill about communism, socialism. Sometimes socialism is a construct of both sides, uh, but it has like an equality into it. Where communism is just strictly uh, everybody's on an equal footing. As capitalism, nobody don't want to be on it. As a human being, you naturally want to be superior over the next, and that just really go down to nature of the biology and the construct of your instinct and to your survival mechanism of your body as well. That you are an organism like anything else, and you thrive to assimilate or destroy for your survival. And that's just really it. That's the point blank number golden rule of basic nature. Um, Survive or perish. And right now for Black American D West, we are in a state of highly confusion, but in a way of somewhat of relative awareness, but not into a deep construct of what's really going on in the bigger scheme of things. Um, Black people is starting to, some starting to speak out against white supremacy, but a lot of people just don't understand that it's not just white supremacy. You got other civilization that is practicing a form of supremacy or a superiority against another, what they would deem as inferior. So it's very excluded into what um, what society is. I mean, it's not just a European thing. You also got to remember there were other groups of people in a way that also practice the same method, in the same tactic as well, of just not just European. Um, so you have to understand it's not just a bunch of white people, but you have to look at all, because in the game of basically in this world is to simulate, to conquer, or to destroy enemy, to thrive and survive and keep pretty much being in existence. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, I would definitely want to jump ship. There's a lot of black people that are protruding into those white supremacy reality, and but they mask themselves back into what you say of a blackness status if it backfire on 'em. And that's pretty dangerous. That's very dangerous. Being racist to me, that's very dangerous. Um, So, like I said, race is not just a concept; it's a cast of a grouping. I mean, if you really want to go into actual human races or subspecies, there's books that would cover that. If you really want to know a lot of history and want to predict the future, you just look at history. Um, Black American DOS came up from slavery. We built this country from blood and bones and stuff, but we also rise from many times through ashes of Jim Crow segregations, even including slavery, the slave society of the United States. And we did prosperous, and we did, but some reason the other generation after the World War II generation thought to change the abstract of that variation, and not, to be for civil rights is not really to be integrated. You just want to be on equal footing, so you basically control your own destiny, and you do what you want and do what you like under almost of a kind of a general mutual oversight. And I think that generation, you want to say the baby boomer generation, they didn't understand. I think they they let wonder to be interracial, and I feel, look, if you don't have a contract clue or hint what you're getting into, that you're not going to understand. Um, but I definitely, like I said, you know, there's a lot of problems going on with with a lot of blacks that is masking as American DOS, and they're trying to dictate our narrative that they have no place in. That's like us going to their homelands and dictating their country, and a lot of them do understand that, because you look at Liberia, that is actually a United States colony, if you really want to take it to, and it is set up exactly like the United States, and actually those American slaves, that ex-American slave, former free men, they brought that same mentality, Americanism, into the continent, as when they started to uh, systematically oppress the indigenous. So Africa kind of took note of that. That's why they're in a way they have such a very delusive aptitude feelings toward a lot of American blacks or Black Americans, just from that Liberian experiment. That's basically that's kind of is what the deal is with the Africans, and maybe other groups and something like that. They have their own narrative they do not want you to also speak about. If you are going to speak about it, you definitely got to use their content as how it's perceived through history. But a lot of places is not doing that. It's also being assisted through the hands of white supremacy. So you got to understand the both coins of that. Um, and I definitely big up to a lot of people, especially a lot of Black American DOS, that speaking out against that. Also, too, have faith in each other as well, and you got to circle the wagon. It's going to get rough in the future. You know what I'm saying? So definitely just want to just come a little bit more. Um, Shout out to a lot of people that's really about this American Black DOS movement, or Black American movement. And this is the tribe that that we are. We have to recognize we are our own um, tribe. We're our own individual tribe in a collective sense. So as long as you know that, in a situation, the claim that you have in ties in this country, you should let nobody speak for you, only you. So, Devil, sorry I let this video kind of go too long, but like I said, the greatest of enemies and the greatest of traitors are actually within ranks. So you definitely gotta be very wary of it. And like Tone Talk said, man, chocolate covered white people. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, be, oh yeah, be one, yo.